requested a trade because they're not that the Niners and him are far apart. Now, we have talked about this, is that Purdy's not a deep ball thrower. Aiyuk can be a really stretch the field player. That's not what, and again, if Josh Allen's the quarterback, I think you re-sign him. That's part of it. The other thing is, I think McCaffrey and Debo and the two receivers they drafted, Aiyuk's a weird fit for them. It's like we talked about Julius Randle earlier. Really good player, bad fit for the Knicks, don't re-sign him. I think Aiyuk's exceptional. I get this move by the Niners if they moved off him. What's your reaction on this?
My reaction is I think this will hurt Purdy a lot. I think that they've paid everyone, and they are planning, I think, at a year from now to have to pay Purdy. But C-Mac's the most expensive running back in the league. They paid Debo. Trent Williams, the most expensive left tackle in the league. They have Nicky Bosa's contract is unfathomable in the way it's going to kick in shortly. And so I understand you can't, and Kittle makes good money for his position. So you have to pick and choose your spots. But I think this will be very painful for them. Everyone obviously is immediately going to connect him to Washington because of Jaden Daniels. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh because he and Tomlin have kind of been openly flirting, it would seem, about a partnership at some point. So that makes sense. But there's a lot of teams that could use Brandon Aiyuk. I don't know that the Niners would trade with the team they're playing in the NFC Championship game in this clip right here. But the Lions, who still don't really have that wide receiver too and are clearly all in right now, that makes a lot of sense. You would have to think the Buffalo Bills, who right now have a pretty naked wide receiver room, but maybe their hesitancy would be, the Diggs thing didn't end great, and if there are concerns with Aiyuk and paying him. But he is an excellent player that it's going to be hard-pressed to find a team that couldn't use him. And I just don't know if the Niners are going to have a restricted pool of teams they're willing to trade with. But Brandon Aiyuk will get you a first-round pick.
Yes.
And probably a little bit more. He's that type of player, and I imagine he's going to get traded.
By the way, speaking of fits, I had said the Knicks, Isaiah Hartenstein only averages 8 points a game, but he was
the top 10 quarterbacks ranked by NFL executive coaches and scouts, and one name that didn't come up, Brock Purdy. We touched on it briefly, but we didn't mention that in the article, they call Brock Purdy a system quarterback and game manager.
That's being
sure sounds like what Tom Brady was called early in his career. An anonymous exec added, "You're not going to win because of him in most cases."
That's right.
Except, he has more fourth quarter comeback victories in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson. But yeah, you're not going to win because of him.
Context.
Go for it, Colin.
It's
go
just
off.
like
I know you love this.
just like Julius Randle. It's a bad fit. He's not a bad player. Don't conflate the two. It's like people today on the internet are conflating inefficiency by the Secret Service as a conspiracy theory. Those are two different things. Inefficiency, average employees probably shouldn't have been on that assignment is not a conspiracy theory. A very solid distribution quarterback on a well-coached, loaded team does not make a great quarterback. A lot of guys that played with LeBron, Matthew Dellavedova for an hour was a player. A lot of guys that played with LeBron looked really good. And then LeBron leaves in J.R. Smith's career. He golfs a lot now. You have to put things in context. Julius Randle, good player, not a great fit going forward. Brock Purdy, solid, good player, not a great player. Put him on, if he was on Jacksonville, they'd never be a playoff team. He doesn't have the talent to overcome. But in San Francisco with Kyle on that roster, you don't have to overcome. Just park the Mercedes and don't hit a tree.
So you were gassing up Josh Allen earlier. Do you remember what he was like early in his career without Stephon Diggs?
Yes.
Do you remember what he was?
Yeah, 6'6", 258, and jumping over linebackers. I do remember.
So body size and arm, that matters now in this discussion.
Tom Brady, 6'5", Peyton Manning, 6'5".
Tom Brady was a game manager for like 6 years.
No, that's what they called him. He wasn't.
Well, because he was drafted in the 6th round.
Size matters. 6'5", 250, Big Ben.
I mean, Josh Allen could do nothing early in his career. He was spraying the ball all over the field.
He's still a lot of yards.
Then he got Stephon Diggs. And then he made the jump to light speed, and now he's a star. Let's see what happens with Josh Allen this year.
Let's see what happens to Stephon Diggs this year.
Oh, I don't love Diggs. I'm just saying the Brock Purdy disrespect, Colin. I mean, I don't know what you want. Like, Kyler Murray's what, like 10 games under 500 as a
Kyler
quarterback?
Murray's a number one pick for a reason. Brock was the last pick in the draft for a reason.
Zach Wilson was a number 2 pick for a reason.
Well, yeah,
Trey Lance was a high
he
pick.
shouldn't have been.
Yeah, nobody knows how to draft quarterbacks in this league. Kyler Murray is a number 1 pick. So you think Kyler Murray would work with Shanahan and the Niners?
Yes, he'd be a better player. They'd have a Super Bowl right now.
Wow, you love Kyler Murray. You guys are boys since you hung out at that UFC fight.
We are friends.
I don't think the play action works with Kyler Murray. He's just tuck and run. I can make a play happen. Anyways, let's go on to another quarterback you love, Baker Mayfield. Bounce around the league guy after leaving the Browns following the 21 season, but he's finally landed on his feet in Tampa. Baker signed a 3-year extension with the Bucs and said it feels pretty good to finally have a home.
I'll tell you what, you're having a lot more fun when you're not getting shipped off to different places like a piece of dirty laundry, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So, when I got embraced in Tampa, it made a world of difference, and I've always played ball, enjoy it. I mean, it is a game. Yes, it is my job, but I love it so much, so why not? I've always wore my emotions on my sleeves, and so let people embrace that, and that's why I'm so excited for having more years to come in Tampa, for people to just get to know me a little bit better, truly realize that that's not just a show on the field. That's who I am when it comes down to the football aspect, and I love it. I'd do anything for our team, and our locker room guys know that.
Yeah, it's where I've often defended being a professional athlete. Can you imagine if I was traded tomorrow to a network I didn't want to go to? Well, they make a lot of money. A lot of people make money. They're called lawyers and doctors. Doesn't mean you want your family shipped across the country. Baker Mayfield's always been a franchise quarterback. It was a reach at number 1, but he's always had the talent. I've said that from very one. He is a franchise quarterback. He is absolutely one of the 20 best quarterbacks. I've said this for 3 years, even when I was banging on him. He's one of the 20 best quarterbacks on the planet. I don't doubt that at all. I had no problem with Tampa Bay giving him a 3-year deal. I don't think he's one of the top 12 quarterbacks. I think there's limitations with him, a lot of it due to lack of size and athleticism, but he can play. There's no doubt he's a franchise quarterback.
Interesting. So, you said the Brock Purdy was with Kyle Shanahan, and that's a big part of the system, and Shanahan's awesome. Last year, Baker has the greatest season of his career by a mile, okay, with Dave Canales, the OC. Dave Canales is now gone.
Yeah.
You think Baker bounces back?
I think, like Shane Steichen leaving the Eagles, it will have an impact. I think my guys love Canales. My guys love Shane Steichen. And Jalen Hurts has not been the same quarterback, and Nick Sirianni has not been the same coach since the now Colts head coach left. It should be noted, Justin Herbert's rookie year, he had Shane Steichen as an offensive coordinator. He set records. So I do think offensive coordinators leaving it may not have an impact for Brady or a Manning in their prime, but it does have an impact. Listen, C.J. Stroud did very, very well. It helped that he had a smart head coach and a very sharp OC.
So you say Baker's a franchise quarterback, but if you look at his history from 2018, this season just could have been an outlier, Colin. Maybe he's not that good.
Well,
he just had one good season with Mike Evans and Godwin and Canales.
In the better conference, he won a playoff game. In the AFC, he won a playoff game in a tough division. Yeah, and he throws a good ball.
Oh, that game over Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think it's...
Roethlisberger was just...
I mean, Sean McVay, I've said this about Sam Darnold. Shanahan liked him, and Kevin O'Connell liked him. Sean McVay's like, give me Baker Mayfield. I'll take him.
So who has a better year, Baker Mayfield or, I don't know, Bryce Young? Who has Dave Canales now?
Baker Mayfield. Because I still don't like the offensive personnel in Carolina. I think Tampa's got players.
I'll take the other side on that one. Final story is, rookies are set to report to Bears training camp today. How about that? But neither of their first-round picks, Caleb Williams or Rome Odunze, have been signed. Additionally, there was some confusion as to who is handling Caleb's contract, with Caleb saying it's his lawyers, and the Bears are saying they're dealing with Caleb directly because Caleb doesn't have an NFLPA certified agent. Seems kind of messy. Colin, as of yesterday, there were only 5 first-round picks unsigned. 2 of them belong to the Chicago Bears. Something, nothing?
Oh, when Lamar Jackson used his mom, I didn't love it.
It was a disaster for well over a year.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason in every industry there's a top 1%. These are highly productive, capable people. I would generally go hire a good agent. You have to give up a couple percentage points. You don't give up 10%. I don't even think you give up 5. You probably give up 2.5%. But if you can have, I mean, I've had 12 contract negotiations in my career. I've never done it on my own. It doesn't make any sense. Just go hire. That sometimes people tend to think, like somebody's a doctor and he thinks, well, I went to medical school and I was an A student. I'm a good doctor. I can design houses and I'm an expert on financial literacy. No, you're a doctor. That's a skill. A good golfer or a good baseball pitcher aren't necessarily great athletes. They're good golfers and baseball pitchers. So I think there are people that are really good at the agent business.
But we're men. We're stupid. We think we can do everything. But
Well,
that's
I don't
true.
think
Listen,
it's stupid.
I
I think